Welcome to another Warhammer battle report. Today the forces of the Adeptus Mechanicus take on the joint forces of the Aeldari and Harlequins. The Adeptus Mechanicus have brought one Forgeworld Lucius battalion detachment, led by a Tech Priest Manipulus with the Luminescent Blessing Warlord trait and the Artisan Holy Order. The other HQ slots are filled with two Skitarii Marshals, one with the Exemplar's Eternity Relic and the Firepoint Telemetry Cache Warlord trait, the other with the Programmed Retreat Warlord trait. As a Brotherhood of the Cog option, a Techno-Archaeologist with the Logi Holy Order is taken alongside the Tech Priest Manipulus, accompanied by 4 Servitors. As troops, the Adeptus Mechanicus have brought a squad of 3 Cataphrone Breachers with heavy arc rifles, 1 squad of 20 Skitarii Rangers with an enhanced data tether, an Omnispecs and the Battlesphere Uplink Skitarii Warlord trait, 1 squad of 20 Skitarii Vanguard with an enhanced data tether and an Omnispecs, and 2 squads of 5 Skitarii Vanguard, one of them with an enhanced data tether as well. For elites, Forgeworld Lucius has brought 10 Fulgurite Electro Priests. 2 squads of 3 Cerberus Raiders fill the fast attack slot. For heavy support, the Adeptus Mechanicus bring an Onager Dune Crawler with a neutron laser and 2 Cognis Heavy Stubbers, as well as 2 squads of 3 Castellan Robots with an Incendine Combustor, a Castellan Phosphor Blaster, and a Castellan Fist each. Additionally, 2 Cybernetica Datasmiths accompany the Castellan Robots, one of which has the Solar Flare Relic. Lastly, the Adeptus Mechanicus have brought a Scorpius Dune Rider transport. The Harlequins have brought 1 Frozen Stars battalion detachment, led by a Shadowseer with the Domino Shroud Relic, the Shield from Harm and Veil of Illusion pivotal roles, the Player of Twilight Warlord trait, and the Twilight Pathways and Webway Dance psychic powers. The second HQ choice is a Troopmaster with the Twilight Fang Relic and the Choreographer of War pivotal role. For troops, there are 3 squads of troop. 1 with 5 players, each equipped with a fusion pistol and a Harlequin's blade, 1 5-player squad with shuriken pistols each, and 4 Harlequin cuirasses and 1 Harlequin blade, and finally 1 10-player squad with 7 Harlequin cuirasses and 3 Harlequin blades. The Harlequins have also got 2 Starweaver transports. The Elder detachment is a Spearhead detachment, with the Expert Crafters and Masters of Concealment Craftworld attributes. It is led by Irilith and a Warlock Skyrunner with a Shuriken pistol and a Witchblade, and the Protect and Jinx and the Ghostwalk psychic powers. For troops, they've got 2 5-man squads of Dire Avengers with the Stand Firm Exarch power. As elites, the Eldar have brought 1 9-man Shadow Spectres squad. In the fast attack category, they've got 1 5-man Shining Spear squad with the Skilled Rider Exarch power, and 1 5-man Warp Spider squad with the Web of Deceit Exarch power. Lastly, they also have got 3 Fire Prisms for heavy support, one of which is equipped with the Spirit Stones upgrade. The mission is 31, Overrun, from the GT 2021 Strike Force mission pack. It consists of 6 strategic objectives, 1 in each player's deployment zone and 4 more in the No Man's Land. The deployment zones run the long table edges in the north and south of the battlefield, and are 24 inches apart from each other. Each player will score 5 points for fulfilling each of the following conditions at the start of their command phase: holding 2 objectives, holding 3 objectives, and holding more objectives than their opponent. These cannot be scored in the first battle round. Each player also chooses 3 secondary objectives before the game. The Adeptus Mechanicus have chosen Raise the Banners High, an objective that involves completing an action on any of the objective markers on the battlefield, and holding it in the subsequent command phases. Eradication of Flesh, scoring 3 points for having killed more infantry units in any turn than their opponent destroyed vehicle units. And Uncharted Sequencing, an objective that involves declaring a different objective for each of the 5 turns, and scoring 3 points for holding it at the end of that turn. These must be declared at the beginning of the game. They have declared objectives in the following order: Objective 1, Objective 2, Objective 4, Objective 3, Objective 5. The Eldar have chosen Engage on all fronts, scoring points for being in multiple table quarters at the end of their turn. Assassinate, scoring points for killing characters. And Retrieve Octarius data, scoring points for completing an action in each table quarter. The terrain of the battlefield consists of obscuring ruins, which will be see-through for any model directly touching the wall, a couple of obstacles near Objective 2, 3, 5, and 6, and 1 dense terrain feature in the middle of the battlefield. Before the battle begins, the Eldar have placed 2 units into Deep Strike, the 9-man Shadow Spectre unit and Irilith. The Fusion Pistol troop has embarked in the Black Starweaver, while the 5-man troop with Shuriken pistols has embarked in the White one. On the Adeptus Mechanicus' side, the Fulgurite Electro Priests have embarked in the Dune Rider. The Eldar have deployed a majority of their forces behind the southwestern obscuring ruin. deploying only the White Star Weaver as well as a 5-man squad of Dire Avengers on Objective 5, and the third Fire Prism behind the southeastern ruin near Objective 4. The Adeptus Mechanicus have deployed the Dune Rider, the Manipulus, the Techno-Archaeologist, one Skitarii Marshal, and the 20-man squad of Skitarii Vanguard behind the northeastern obscuring ruin, with the Cybernetica Datasmith, 3 Castellan robots, and the Onager Dunecrawler just to the east of it. The other 3 Castellans, along with the Solar Flare Cybernetica Datasmith, are deployed in the northwest behind the obscuring ruins, alongside 2 5-man squads of Skitarii Vanguard, the 3 Cataphron Breachers, and 3 Cerberus Raiders on Objective 1. The 20 Skitarii Rangers, the 4 Servitors, and the 2nd Skitarii Marshal are deployed near Objective 2 behind the central obscuring ruin. 3 Cerberus Raiders are deployed on Objective 2. The Eldar win the initiative roll-off and gain the first turn. Before the first round, the Raiders on Objective 2 move up to touch the dense terrain feature in the center of the battlefield, while the Raiders near Objective 1 move just slightly forward and behind the obscuring ruin in the northwest. The Adeptus Mechanicus have chosen no Doctrina Imperative and have chosen Sharp Psalm as the canticle for this turn. In the movement phase of turn 1, the Eldar move their Shining Spears up the board towards Objective 1, in line of sight of the Skitarii Rangers, while leaving the majority of their forces behind the southwestern obscuring ruin. One of the Fire Prisms moves west to gain line of sight on the Castellan robots in the northwest. On Objective 5, the Harlequins from the Star Weaver disembark, while the Star Weaver moves behind the obscuring ruin, along with a 5-man squad of Dire Avengers. In the east, the Fire Prism moves onto Objective 4. The 5 Dire Avengers near Objective 5 retrieve Octarius data. In the Psychic phase, the Warlock attempts to manifest Protect, but fails and gets injured by the perils of the warp and takes 2 damage. The Shadowseer manifests Webway Dance. In the Shooting phase, the Shining Spears fire upon the Skitarii Rangers, killing 8 of them, and use the Fire and Fate stratagem to move 7 inches after shooting, and move behind the northwestern obscuring ruin. The Fire Prisms use the Linked Fire stratagem, which allows all 3 of them to draw a line of sight from the White Fire Prism and shoot the Castellans in the northwest. One of the Castellans is destroyed, and another one takes 4 damage. At the end of their turn 1, the Eldar score 2 points for engage on all fronts and have completed 1 retrieve data action. The Skitarii Rangers on Objective 2 use the Acquisition at Any Cost stratagem to automatically pass their morale test. In the Adeptus Mechanicus command phase, multiple buffs are given to the Skitarii Ranger squad and the 20-man Skitarii Vanguard squad. The Rangers gain the Command Sphere uplink, the Firepoint Telemetry cache, the Manipulus' Galvanic Field buff, and the Marshal's Control Edict ability. While the Vanguard unit gains the Techno-Archaeologist's Machine Focus ability, the Marshal's Control Edict ability, the Holy Order Logi Predictive Barrage ability, and the Luminescent Blessings buff. In the movement phase, the Adeptus Mechanicus move up their Castellan robots and Cerberus Raiders in the west, followed by a sideways movement of the Cataphron Breachers to gain line of sight on the White Fire Prism. The Rangers in the middle move up towards the center of the battlefield, and in the east the Skitarii Vanguard move onto the objective, while the Castellans and the Dunecrawler move towards the south, followed by the Dune Rider. The Cerberus Raiders from the center of the battlefield have moved towards Objective 4, the Skitarii Vanguard on Objective 1, the Servitors on Objective 2, and the Skitarii Vanguard on Objective 3 each have raised a banner, while the Manipulus remains stationary to complete his Holy Order action. In the shooting phase, the Cataphron Breachers deal 6 damage to the White Fire Prism, while the Shining Spears lose their Exarch from the surrounding units shooting. The players on Objective 5 take some casualties from the Rangers' firepower, while the Dire Avengers take 2 losses from the combined Stubbers of the Dune Rider and the Dunecrawler. The Fire Prism in the west takes 3 damage from the Raiders. In the charge phase, the Castellans, along with the Raiders and 1 squad of Skitarii Vanguard, charge the Shining Spears near Objective 1, while in the west the Raiders attempt to charge the Fire Prism but fail the charge. The fight phase sees only 1 of the Shining Spears killed, while they deal 2 more wounds against the Castellans in return. The Adeptus Mechanicus end their turn 1, scoring 3 points for Uncharted sequencing and have 3 banners raised. The Adeptus Mechanicus have chosen no Canticle and have chosen the Bulwark Imperative as Doctrina Imperative for this turn. At the beginning of their turn 2, the Eldar control 3 objectives and gain 10 points for primary. In the movement phase, the Shining Spears near Objective 1 fall back from combat and use the Feint Retreat stratagem to fall back, shoot and charge, while the Harlequin forces move up the board, ending in a movement near the Skitarii Rangers in the middle of the battlefield. The Dire Avengers near Objective 5 move back onto the objective, securing it together with the 2 remaining players. The Fire Prisms remain mostly stationary, except for the Blue Fire Prism in the west, which moves slightly forward, while the Dire Avengers on Objective 6 move onto the other side of the obscuring ruin. The Warp Spiders remain behind the obscuring ruin and retrieve Octarius data. At the end of the movement phase, the Shadow Spectres and Irilith arrive from Deep Strike, to the west of Objective 6, just outside of the Eldar deployment zone. In the Psychic phase, the Warlock once again fails at attempting to manifest Protect, while the Shadowseer casts Webway Dance and Twilight Pathways, which allows the players to move again, closing in on Objective 2. In the shooting phase, the Shining Spears kill the Cybernetica Datasmith, scoring 3 points for Assassinate. The Castellans in the west get taken out by Irilith and 2 of the Fire Prisms, which once again use the linked fire stratagem. The Shadow Spectres take out the Cataphrons and deal some damage to the Skitarii Vanguard near Objective 1. The Cerberus Raiders lose 2 of their models against the shooting of the fusion pistols in the Starweaver, while in the east the Fire Prism takes out 1 Raider. At the end of the shooting phase, the Shadowseer uses her Domino Shroud relic to teleport 12 inches, ending up on the other side of the players, near the Marshal on Objective 2. In the charge phase, the players in the center of the battlefield attempt to charge both the Rangers and the Marshal on Objective 2, and fail. The White Starweaver charges into the Rangers, followed by the Troop Master and the Shadowseer. On Objective 1, the Shining Spears charge into the Skitarii Vanguard. The Shining Spears kill 3 Vanguards in the fight phase, while the Troop Master and the Shadowseer kill a total of 7 Rangers. The Skitarii do not manage to deal any damage in retaliation. The Eldar end their turn in 3 table quarters, and score 2 points for engage on all fronts. They also have completed the second retrieve action. Additionally, they have killed 1 enemy character. At the beginning of their turn 2, the Adeptus Mechanicus hold 3 objectives for 10 points primary, and still have 3 banners raised, for 3 points and raise the banners high. In the command phase, the Adeptus Mechanicus applies a lot of buffs on the 20-man Vanguard unit. They gain the Galvanic Field buff from the Manipulus, the Marshal's Control Edict ability, the Techno-Archaeologist's Machine Focus ability, the Battlesphere Uplink, the Firepoint Telemetry Cache, and the Predictive Barrage ability, as well as the Exquisite Calibration buff and the Luminescent Blessing buff. The Rangers receive the Programmed Retreat buff, and the Skitarii Vanguard near Objective 1 receive the Control Edict ability from the second Skitarii Marshal. In the movement phase, the Skitarii Vanguard that is engaged in melee with the Shining Spears falls back, while the Vanguard that is slightly further up the board moves back towards Objective 1. The Singular Raider in the west moves further south, while his brothers in the east do the same and take over Objective 4. The Skitarii Rangers fall back from combat, and the Manipulus and the Servitors secure Objective 2, while the Skitarii Vanguard move closer to the Harlequins in the center of the battlefield. The Castellans and the Dunecrawler move further south, and the Dune Rider moves towards the center as well. In the shooting phase, the Adeptus Mechanicus wipe out the Dire Avengers on Objective 5, with the combined shooting of the Dunecrawler and the Raiders, while attempting to deal damage to the White Starweaver with the Dunecrawler, the Castellans, and the Manipulus, but failing everything. The Castellans deal 1 damage to the Fire Prism, however. The 20-man Vanguard squad uses the Enriched Round stratagem and wipes out the players near Objective 2 and deal 1 damage to the Starweaver. The Rangers use the Galvanic Volley Fire stratagem and deal 1 damage to the Shining Spears, and the Vanguard near Objective 1 also deals 1 damage. In the charge phase, the Vanguard on Objective 1 charge into the Shining Spears. In the southeast, the Castellans use the Binaric Override stratagem to change into Conqueror Protocol, and succeed in that charge against the Fire Prism. This allows the Raiders to attempt to charge the players on Objective 5, however, they do not succeed. The Raider in the west does successfully charge into the White Fire Prism. At the end of the charge phase, the Troop Master heroically intervenes into the Skitarii Rangers, who could not move far enough away. In the fight phase, the Vanguard deal no damage against the Shining Spears on Objective 1 and take 1 damage in return. The Castellans obliterate the Fire Prism and it explodes, dealing 2 mortal wounds to the Castellans and 3 mortal wounds to the Raiders. The Troop Master wipes out the remaining Skitarii Rangers. The Adeptus Mechanicus end their turn 2, scoring 3 points for Uncharted Sequencing and still have 3 banners raised. They also score 3 points for Eradication of Flesh, having killed more infantry units than the Eldar destroyed vehicle units this turn. The Adeptus Mechanicus have chosen Litany of the Electromancer as Canticle, and the Protector Imperative this turn. At the beginning of their turn 3, the Eldar control 2 objectives and gain 5 points for primary. In the movement phase, the Eldar move their Shadow Spectres behind the Obscuring Ruin in the west, getting them into position for a later turn, while the Warp Spiders move north, near Objective 1, performing the Retrieve Octarius data action. The Black Starweaver moves east, into the dense cover, and the White Starweaver moves onto Objective 3. The Troop Master backflips towards the Tech Priest Manipulus, and the Shadowseer closes in on the Skitarii Marshal. In the Psychic phase, the Shadowseer attempts to cast Smite, and fails, followed up by a successful cast of Webway Dance. In their shooting phase, the Eldar kill the last Raider near Objective 6 with the Fire Prism. The Black Starweaver shoots at the Skitarii Vanguard and deals 1 damage, and uses the Fire and Fate stratagem to move further south behind the Obscuring Ruin. The other Starweaver wipes out the Servitor squad. Irilith deals 5 damage to the Castellan robots, destroying 1, and the rest of the army fails to deal any more damage. In the charge phase, the Troop Master charges the Manipulus. The Shadowseer charges the red Skitarii Marshal, and the white Starweaver charges the other Marshal and the Dune Rider. In the following fight phase, the Shadowseer kills the Skitarii Marshal, scoring 3 Assassinate points, and the Troop Master deals 4 damage to the Manipulus. The Starweaver is destroyed by the Dune Rider, and the Manipulus deals 1 damage to the Troop Master. The Eldar end their turn in 4 table quarters, and score 3 points for engage on all fronts. They have also completed the 3rd Retrieve action. Additionally, they have killed 2 enemy characters in total. At the beginning of their turn 3, the Adeptus Mechanicus hold 3 objectives for 15 points primary and still have 3 banners raised, for 3 points and raise the banners high. In the command phase, the Adeptus Mechanicus once again buff up the big Vanguard squad, giving all buffs that are still available to them. They gain the Galvanic Field buff from the Manipulus, the Marshal's Control Edict ability, the Techno-Archaeologist's Machine Focus ability, and the Predicted Barrage ability, as well as the Exquisite Calibrations buff and the Luminescent Blessing buff. In the movement phase, the Adeptus Mechanicus move the Dune Rider and the Dune Crawler further south towards Objective 4, while the remaining Skitarii Vanguard shift further west. The Castellan robots move towards Objective 5, the single Skitarii Vanguard engaged with the Shining Spears on Objective 1 falls back from combat. In the shooting phase, the big squad of Skitarii Vanguard once again use the Enriched Rounds stratagem and wipe out the Warp Spiders and the Troop Master, and deal 2 damage to the Shadowseer. The Shining Spears on Objective 1 take 1 damage. The Dune Crawler deals 5 damage to the Blue Fire Prism and 1 damage to the Shadow Spectres. The Castellan robots also deal 1 damage to the Harlequin troops on Objective 5 and the Black Starweaver. In the charge phase, the big Vanguard squad charges into the Shadowseer, and the Vanguards on Objective 1 charge the Shining Spears. The Castellan robots charge into the Harlequin troops on Objective 5. In the fight phase, the Vanguard deal 1 damage to the Shadowseer and take 2 damage in return, while the Shining Spear on Objective 1 kills the 2 remaining Vanguards. The Harlequin on Objective 5 is smashed into dust by the Castellan robots. The Adeptus Mechanicus end their turn 3, scoring 3 points for Uncharted Sequencing and still have 3 banners raised. They also score 3 points for Eradication of Flesh, having killed more infantry units than the Eldar destroyed vehicle units this turn. The Adeptus Mechanicus have chosen Invocation of Machine Might as Canticle and no Doctrina Imperative this turn. At the beginning of their turn 4, the Eldar control 1 objective and gain 0 points for primary. In the movement phase, the Fusion Pistol Harlequins disembark from the Black Starweaver and secure Objective 4. The Shadow Spectres and Irilith, along with the Warlock, move up onto the dense cover in the middle of the battlefield. The Shadowseer falls back from the Vanguard squad towards Objective 3, and the Black Starweaver moves onto Objective 5. In the Psychic phase, the Warlock casts Jinx on the big Vanguard squad. In the shooting phase, the players on Objective 4 Fusion Pistol the Datasmith out of existence and score 3 Assassinate points. The Shadow Spectres unload into the Vanguard and kill 14 Skitarii. The combined firepower and the linked fire stratagem of the Fire Prisms and Irilith take down the Castellan robots, while the Shadowseer deals 3 damage to the Marshal on Objective 3. The Shadow Spectre charges into the Skitarii Marshal on Objective 3, the Shining Spear into the Vanguard on Objective 1, and the Harlequin troop into the Dune Rider on Objective 4. In the fight phase, the last Vanguard on Objective 1 gets killed, and the Shadowseer kills the Skitarii Marshal and scores 3 Assassinate points. At the end of the turn, the remaining Skitarii Vanguard from the big squad flees. The Eldar end their turn 4 in 4 table quarters and gain 3 points for engage on all fronts. Additionally, they have killed 4 enemy characters in total. The Adeptus Mechanicus begin their 4th turn holding only 1 point and gain 0 points for primary. They also only have 1 banner still raised and gain 1 point for that. In the movement phase, the Electro-Priests disembark from the Dune Rider and move onto Objective 3, followed by the Dune Crawler. The Techno-Archaeologist moves towards the Shadowseer and the Manipulus remains on Objective 2. In the shooting phase, the Electro-Priests use the Electromancer's Wrath stratagem and deal 2 wounds to the Shadow Spectres. While the Dune Rider kills 4 troops on Objective 4, the Dune Crawler deals 1 damage to the Shadow Spectres. The Techno-Archaeologist charges into the Shadowseer. No damage is dealt in combat. At the end of the turn, the last Harlequin player decides to flee. The Adeptus Mechanicus end their turn 4, scoring 3 points for Uncharted Sequencing, and have 1 banner raised. The Adeptus Mechanicus have chosen Chant of the Remorseless Fist as Canticle and the Aggressor Doctrina Imperative this turn. The Eldar begin their final turn holding 3 objectives and gain 10 points for primary. In the movement phase, the Shadow Spectres move towards Objective 3 and begin a Retrieve Octarius Data action. The Dire Avengers move from Objective 6 to Objective 5, and Irilith and the Warlock move onto Objective 2. In the shooting phase, the Fire Prisms use the Linked Fire stratagem one last time and destroy the Dune Rider. Meanwhile, Irilith kills the Tech Priest Manipulus, scoring the last 3 Assassinate points. In the fight phase, the Shadowseer deals no damage to the Techno-Archaeologist, and in return gets killed. The Eldar end their turn 5 in 3 table quarters and score 2 points for engage on all fronts, and have completed all 4 retrieve actions. Additionally, they have killed 5 enemy characters in total. The Adeptus Mechanicus begin turn 5 with no banner raised. They score no points for primary at the beginning of turn 5, because as a second player turn, they score primaries at the end of the last turn instead. In the movement phase, the Techno-Archaeologist secures Objective 3 and raises a banner, while the Electro-Priests move onto Objective 2. In the shooting phase, the Dune Crawler deals 3 damage to the Dire Avengers on Objective 5. In the charge phase, the Electro-Priests charge Irilith and kill him afterwards. At the end of their last turn, the Adeptus Mechanicus score 5 points for primary and another 1 point for Raise the Banners High. Additionally, they also gain 3 points for Eradication of Flesh. With this, the battle is concluded and the game ends. In this game, the Eldar have scored 25 points total on primary objectives, 12 points for Engage on all fronts, 12 for Retrieve Octarius Data, and 15 for Assassinate. The Adeptus Mechanicus have scored 30 points total on primary objectives, 8 points for Raise the Banners High, 9 points for Eradication of Flesh, and 12 points for Uncharted Sequencing. The total score is 64 against 59 points in favor of the Eldar.